Yeah, many years ago, I started off working for a lighting company in New York. I was in college and had worked concerts at the school I was in, and moved down to New York with the band I was playing in and needed a job and knew somebody at a lighting company. And called up, started there that day, and ended up quitting the band and going on tour. Seemed like a good idea at the time. I was looking at the Grand Aimé, and back then the Grand Aimé 1 and the Maxis. And every show I would go, every show I went to, it seemed there was a grandma on it. So it seemed the logical choice. And it is. Their support is the best out there. There's somebody on every continent that you can talk to. And that makes a huge difference, just knowing you're not alone out there. When you first set it up, it takes time, but no, I mean they're all. I mean, if you want to talk about a rock and roll console, it's an ABO, which is buttons and faders. But this, I mean, you can set it up any way you want. But you could, if you want to do a simple show, if you want to do it simply, yeah, it's easy to just set it up and go. In the old days, you would set your board up horizontally, and you would work across, and you'd have faders for everything. Now I guess it's more theater style, where you work vertically. I have one fader that has the main cue list, which I think most people do now. But I also spread a bit horizontally, which is a carryover from the old days. I think I use. We all rely on effects engines, but I also tend to write a lot of chases. So I'll have my chases going this way, and most of them are triggered by the main cue list, but not always. Sometimes I like to have a bit of a feel for it, or have bump buttons sideways as well. And I'll have a bank of faders. I always like using the bigger console because I need the extra faders. This bank of faders will do the chases, the main sequence, cue lists, and then the other bank is always stuff that's fixed on, all the mole lights, any specials, etc. Stuff that you always need there. Whatever you do for one band, I mean, obviously this band is totally different. You light them totally different, but generally whatever you do, you want to be comfortable with. It should be automatic. Like, I always know that my mole lights are going to be right here on the board, and I always know that my specials are going to be here. So whatever show you do, important to keep it consistent, I think. It's never the latest gadget. Like, we did a festival recently with a bunch of, bands with a bit of history, and we said to the festival designer, keep in mind who the bands are. We don't need the latest, not that there's anything wrong with that, obviously, but like the BIs with a million different tricks and things like that. You need a good wash light, you need a good profile, you need a special effect light. And I think with that, hopefully you can make any show look. All of it. I'm lucky enough to have done a pretty wide range. And there's something about the smaller shows where you can use just a few lights and hopefully make it look. The challenge is to take a dozen lights and make every song look different for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and are here taking 300 lights and doing something with, it's all great. I mean, there's something still, the feeling when you get when there's a stadium full of people and you're walking out to work, that I never ever take for granted. it's kind of exciting, and I would say it's kind of a silly way to make a living, but yeah, there's still, no matter how long you've been doing it, I think the people who are jaded just need to open their eyes and think, what a great thing we have here. It's like you never grow up, really. It's like being Peter Pan, I think. I mean, we do. The business has changed a lot. It's gotten a lot more, as the shows get bigger, it's a bit more serious, I think, and the technology, but, it's still, I show up to work, and not for the show, but for load-ins and load-outs, you wear shorts and shirts with 20-year-old shirts with holes in them, and nobody bats an eye. If you go in with the right attitude, I hopefully come in to work with a smile every day. I still like working on the crew, and it's all part of it for me. The people who are jaded should probably not be doing this anymore. And a lot of the best crews I've worked with are all my age, and they enjoy what they do. And hopefully the young kids will, the younger generation, you see a lot of them, and everybody says, the younger generation, they're a lot lazier, they don't want to work. And you do find that a fair amount, but you also find a lot of kids who are great at what they do and passionate about it. Yeah, it's important to foster them. Hopefully, over the years, I always try to teach people. There's no secrets out here. It's like, let's train the younger generation and help them out.